أنا عندي رسالة للناس اللي بتيجي المنجروف، يعني فبعد إذنهم ما يكسروش المنجروف ولا يرموا حاجة في الأرض، ويعني يحافظوا على المنجروف كأنه حاجة حتفيدهم بعد كده، حتفيدهم وحتفيد عيالهم.
A message like this comes from someone who's learned to see nature differently, not as a backdrop to her life, but as something vast and alive beside her, an equal, a force of its own, and who now carries protecting it as her own responsibility. For centuries, Earth moved to natural rhythms, but in the last 200 years, that balance has shifted. Rising temperatures, coastal erosion, and biodiversity loss are pushing coastal environments to the brink. We've spent decades trying to engineer our way out of crises like these, but some of the answers to climate change may have been growing quietly around us all along.
Mangroves are amazing allies when it comes to the mitigation of carbon emissions.
Their roots don't just hold the tree in place. Beneath them, sequestered carbon stays trapped in vaults locked in the ground for centuries. Scientists call this blue carbon, one of the most effective natural climate tools we have.
We call them the ecological guardians of the coast, silently protecting the shorelines along the Red Sea coastline.
Among the few tree species capable of surviving where land and sea collide, mangroves are extraordinary. At first glance, they appear to defy nature itself. In waterlogged coastal sediments where oxygen is scarce, their roots rise above the water like a forest of snorkels, drawing breath directly from the air. Their leaves filter seawater and expel excess salt, allowing them to thrive where most plants could never survive. Their intricate root system traps sediment carried by tides and currents, gradually building and stabilizing the coastline itself. What begins as a tree becomes a living fortress against erosion and rising seas. Beneath the surface, an entire world emerges. Fish find refuge among the roots, protected from predators during the earliest stages of life. Crabs and mollusks enrich the sediment below. Above, birds gather in the branches, nesting their eggs. Together, they form a thriving web of biodiversity. In one ecosystem, nature delivers multiple solutions at once. Mangroves are one example, but the model behind them is bigger than any single ecosystem. Around the world, scientists are increasingly turning to nature for climate answers. Forests, wetlands, reefs, peatlands, restoring and working with nature itself. They call this approach nature-based solutions. But an ecosystem can't restore itself in isolation. It exists with community, people who build on it and depend on it.
Participatory ecosystem management delivers multiple benefits at once: protecting costs, adapting to climate change, supporting biodiversity, and creating sustainable livelihoods. That's the great opportunity of working with nature-based solutions.
Recognizing nature's potential is one thing, realizing it is another.
Addressing climate change requires partnerships that bring together finance, science, and local communities to create solutions that can deliver lasting environmental and economic impact.
Along the Red Sea coast, a vision for a climate-resilient future takes shape through one initiative. The Mangrove Ecosystem Restoration Solution project, known as MERS. Egypt's Red Sea coast is home to over hundreds of hectares of mangrove forest, where two species exist. The gray mangrove, Avicennia marina, and the red mangrove, Rhizophora macronata.
احنا عندنا تقريبا في مصر حوالي 36 ستاند مانجروف، سواء في البحر الأحمر أو في خليج العقبة ومحمية راس محمد ومحمية نبي.
MERS is a living test of a climate resilience model, one that uses nature-based solutions to bring together ecological recovery, community stewardship, and institutional action into a lasting framework for resilience. 50,000 mangrove trees restored along the Red Sea coast, carbon capture that compounds for decades. Ecosystems linked to livelihoods, ecotourism, fisheries, and long-term value chains. Communities as active partners, planting, monitoring, managing. Policymakers, scientists, and industry brought into the same room. Research and field lessons converted into evidence for scale. Egypt's first national mangrove GIS platform for tracking, future planning, and growth. These 5 elements come together not just to revive a mangrove forest, but to strengthen resilience across communities, ecosystems, and institutions. At the heart of this model is restoration, and what grows back isn't only the ecosystem, it's the relationship between people, opportunity, and the land they call home.
Projects like MERS require time. You have to build relationships and trust over the years for these nature-based interventions to really work and be accepted by their communities.
In the beginning, very few people showed up in our plantation programs. But as time went on, they understood how the program is impacting to their lives and to their social environment. By the end of the program, a lot of people actually used to show up.
Through conversations with them, we get to learn about what's feasible, what's desirable, what ideas they would feel enthusiastic about working on, in order to create this linkage and relationship between the community members and the mangroves, so that they get to protect the sites and the restored areas even after and beyond the end of the project.
احنا جمعية المجتمع دي لما كنا عاملين خد بالك معايا تمام، كان ما عندناش فكرة انه هو مشروع زي ده هيجي يمدنا في البلد ويساعدنا. احنا كأهالي كنا عايشين على الرعي والصيد، لكن دلوقتي الحمد لله من يوم المشروع ده ما جاه احنا بقينا مبسوطين. الاهالي العرب، قبائل العرب كلها الموجودة على دائرة حماطة مبسوطة في الكلام ده.
In this model, communities aren't beneficiaries. They're co-designers, implementers, stewards, and through that participation, something else takes root. Livelihoods. Through training, MERS introduces green enterprises, linking mangroves directly to ecotourism, fisheries, and local products.
الواحد لما بيجينا هنا بنشرح له ازاي الشجر قايم في بحر. أول شيء بناخده بالمركب بنلففه في المنجروف، بيتبسط من الهدوء والطيور.
اللي بيجي تاني بيجي مرة واثنين وثلاثة، وبيجيب معاه اللي ما جاش بيشوف الطبيعة. طبيعة يعني حاجة مش بتتوصف، اللي بيعيش اللحظة هو بنفسه.
The project has already created work opportunities for more than 250 people, with women representing around 65% of those involved. It has also supported the launch of 2 mangrove-based businesses.
Within this system, women of the Red Sea play a central role, not just restoring ecosystems, but expanding what's possible. Through training and enterprise, they're becoming entrepreneurs, educators, leaders.
أنا كان حلمي إن أنا أبقى مرشدة سياحية. أنا شاركت مع التدريبات طبعاً وتعلمت إن أنا إزاي أعمل مشروع، يعني إن أنا أدير إزاي المشروع بتاعي عامل إيه. أنا تعلمت يعني إن أنا ما أخليش حد يرمي حاجات في المنجروف أو أي كان في حماة كلها، عشان دي منطقة سياحية ما ينفعش نرمي فيها أي حاجة أصلاً.
As communities take ownership, the impact doesn't stay local. Forests are left to thrive by those who depend on them. But lasting restoration requires learning what works, measuring what changes, and turning those lessons into knowledge others can use. Field data on survival, biodiversity, and carbon storage isn't collected for its own sake. It's published, turned into a framework others can learn from and build on.
By integrating GIS in our work, we are using special data and visual tools to make the information more accessible. So we can inspire not only scientists, but also communities.
That platform lets restoration move beyond single sites, toward coordinated, data-driven expansion, guiding decisions at both the local and national level. What MERS is building is a model that can be adapted across Egypt and beyond. Measured over time, participatory models like this turn projects into evidence, and evidence into policy.
For Egypt, this is a chance to advance our deepest national priorities all at once. Climate action, poverty reduction, life below water, life on land, and creating viable opportunities for decent work. Restoring and protecting mangroves is not only about conservation, it is about securing our economic and environmental future and allowing both humans and nature to thrive.
The challenges of climate change are vast, but so is the intelligence already built into the systems we're trying to save. For generations, ecosystems like mangroves have performed functions that protect humanity and the balance of life itself. Pair that resilience with rigorous science and a model that puts people at its center, and what emerges isn't a fix imposed on nature, it's a partnership with it.
أنا عن نفسي ما كنتش عارفة فوائد المنجروف، بس الحمد لله يعني وبعد فضل ربنا وانتو عرفنا ازاي نحافظ على بلدنا ونحافظ على المنجروف، عشان المنجروف ده أصلاً يعني نادر إنه طبيعي يعني بنستفيد منه في مشاريع كتير يعني في منظر البيئة وفي جذب السياح وفي الهواء النقي إنه بياخد الأضرار وبيجيب لنا هواء نقي.
The challenge is global. The lessons begin locally. MERS is one coastline. The model behind it doesn't have to stop there.